I've never seen the Bengals or the Reds until this year. I'm 27 years old, past the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Never.
Like in your life.
In my life.
Yeah. Hallo, Servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. And this is my boyfriend, Ben.
Hello.
Hello. He's a pretty new addition to the channel, and in case you haven't seen his introduction video yet, I'm just gonna link that down below. And to all of you who have seen it, thank you so much for all of your super kind words.
Thank you.
We were pretty overwhelmed and surprised by how welcoming you guys were. And honestly, like, even though I should have known that from the rebranding video that I have an amazing community, I was baffled again.
Oh, yeah, I was completely blindsided by it.
Yeah, everyone was like, welcome to the family. And like, it made me really emotional reading that.
Yeah, it's all been overwhelmingly positive too.
Yeah.
And I know I'm grateful for it, so
yeah, super cool. We didn't really expect
surprise.
That much feedback and like the feedback to be that positive, to be honest. Yeah. And a lot of you also said that you do want to see videos with him and learn more about his perspective on things. And you guys also asked us a lot of questions, so we will sit down soon and record a Q&A video where we try to answer a lot of those questions together. Now, the reason he's joining me for this video is that the Cincinnati Bengals are playing in the Super Bowl tomorrow against the Los Angeles Rams, which is a huge deal for everyone here. And unlike myself, I personally don't follow any sports, not even soccer. Ben, like most Americans, grew up with football and sports in general, and he's been a Bengals fan his whole life, so he's a much better source to talk about this topic than myself.
And honestly, what she just said about the Bengals being in the Super Bowl, I thought I'd never hear those words in my life.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And to get everyone caught up on what's even happening, in case you don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals are the city's NFL team, and this is the third time ever that they're in the Super Bowl. And the last time was over 30 years ago in 1989. I've lived here for about 5 years now, and even though I'm not a sports person, even I know that Cincinnati sports in general aren't always going so well. And I looked it up, and apparently the last championship win in any Cincinnati sport was when the Cincinnati Reds, so the baseball team, won the World Series in 1990. That's why it's even more exciting that this season the college football team, the University of Cincinnati Bearcats, did extremely well, and now the Bengals are even in the Super Bowl. So yeah. Ben, as a lifelong Bengals fan and just someone who's been following football your whole life, how does it feel right now?
Kind of surreal, I will say that, because like I said, I never thought I'd hear these words before.
Yeah.
And the Bengals have always kind of been a laughingstock of the league. Mm-hmm. And then this kind of came out of nowhere. We have a second-year quarterback, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burr. They haven't come to a consensus on the nickname yet, but...
Sounds like a nice nickname.
It is. But, he's kind of revamped the whole town, and everybody is just hopped on the bandwagon.
That's what your jersey is, right?
Yes. This is the one from this year. I ordered one with the Super Bowl patch. I'm waiting for that to come in, but hopefully it turns out good.
So it's a pretty big deal for you and for everyone else, too. I mean...
Oh, yeah. I know plenty of people that as soon as we beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, they got emotional during it.
Yeah.
I know I did. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Did anyone cry? Like the people that you were talking to
during
the game?
Yeah, Tyler, one of my friends, he got a little bit emotional, but it was all tears of joy, which is definitely a good thing. It's something that we don't have a lot of here. As Bengals fans, we've been through a whole lot, from the catch in the Super Bowl against the 49ers with Joe Montana on the final drive, and it's the closest we ever got to a Super Bowl, and it was taken from us in the last minute.
That was in 89.
89, yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And, for example, I've never seen the Bengals or the Reds until this year. I'm 27 years old, past the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Never.
Like in your life.
In my life. Yeah. In my life. And I grew up hearing stories of the Big Red Machine, of the Cincinnati Reds, and that might as well be folklore, because they just won World Series back to back to back to back. And since then, it's been basically 30 years of mediocrity.
Yeah.
And then for all the old football heads out there, there's this guy named Bill Walsh that ended up beating the Bengals in the 2 Super Bowls. He was a coach, coached the 49ers. He beat the Bengals in both the Super Bowls that we've reached in the past. Paul Brown, the person that the stadium is named after.
The Cincinnati Football Stadium.
Yeah, could have hired him to be their coach. And he didn't, and he went to the San Francisco 49ers and created a dynasty in one of the most winning organizations in all of the NFL.
So you're saying this could have been the Bengals, but
yeah, that's how people put it around here, basically. Because Bill Walsh was one of those guys that there's certain personalities and minds in sports that dudes just want to go play for. And he brings out the best in those guys, and he did that with Jerry Rice and Joe Montana and countless other dudes. So Ronnie Lott. So after that, the 90s were a terrible decade for the Bengals. And the early 2000s were even worse. And since then, we've been somewhat decent. We've made the playoffs a few times, never won a game.
And then, so this also, like, what was it, 2 games ago? Was that, like, that was the first playoff game they had won in over 30 years as well, right?
Yes.
Like, it wasn't just that they hadn't made it to the Super Bowl in 30 years. They hadn't even made it 2 rounds before that. Like, okay, that was very poorly phrased, but like even like 2 games before the Super Bowl, they hadn't ever won that.
Yeah,
in 30 years.
They never made it. That's called a divisional round. So you have the wild card round, the divisional round, the conference championship round, and then you have the Super Bowl. And they never even won a wild card game. Like, we were bottom of the totem pole. And we beat the Oakland Raiders. I watched it with my family. It was awesome. My mom was even super invested in it. And I never thought I'd experience something like this with my family. But as you said earlier, I gotta give a little shout out to both of our alma mater, University of Cincinnati, for making it to the college football playoff. With them making it to the college football playoff and the Bengals now in the Super Bowl, it kind of makes Cincinnati the mecca of football, in my opinion. And no one's going to tell me different. I
mean, it's not just that. Like, I've seen so many memes also. I mean, you're not the only person who just, like, claims that. But there were, like, memes where it said no other city right now has that situation where, like, they have a college football team in, what is it called, the playoffs? Or what's it called?
Yeah, the college football playoffs. So it's 4 teams. They always try to expand it every year. But right now it's 4 teams. And usually with that, you have the Power 5 conferences, and University of Cincinnati is the first non-Power 5 conference to get into the college football playoff, which was awesome. And with that being just a month ago, and then...
Well, yeah, they said, like, Cincinnati's the only city that has that happening, the college football team in the playoffs, and also the NFL team being in the
playoffs
AFC
or the
playoffs.
AFC championship. The thing that's a little bit different with pro and college sports is that there's not a lot of very successful college teams in the same city where there's a big professional sport.
Like, for example, how in Lexington in Kentucky, they have a very successful college team. Like, is it basketball?
Yeah, it's basketball, college basketball,
basketball.
The University of Kentucky.
But they don't have really a pro team, right?
No, we don't have any professional sports in Kentucky. We have minor leagues, but we have no professional sports.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But, I mean, if you ask anybody that is an NBA fan, the National Basketball Association, they'll tell you that University of Kentucky might as well be a professional basketball team, because these kids will go to school there for 1 year and then they'll go directly to the NBA after that. Yeah,
but getting back to Cincinnati, we have a very unique situation here right now where, like, both football teams are doing insanely well. And you're not a football expert, of course, but you've been following it. And I'm just curious, like, why do you think they did so well this season? Because you told me that they weren't even supposed to play good this season.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a diehard Bengals fan, but I think it's partly just a pattern of years past. You just get so used to mediocrity in some sense. For example, there's a big meme running around right now that
Ern is coming. Hi, buddy. Hi. Yeah, you can come in the picture. They already know about you. Buddy. Izzy's chilling over there on the floor.
He's just going to chill. But no, there's this meme going around right now that the Cincinnati Bengals are the only team in the NFL without an indoor practice facility. And the week between...
Oh, is that why they went on campus?
That's why they went to the University of Cincinnati. Yeah. And I don't understand why, but they need to get an indoor practice facility. But it's always been things like that. Like, we've been the cheap organization that doesn't want to spend the money in free agency. And this year we went out and got free agents that have made a difference for our team, and you can see that difference. like right now, because we're going to LA to play the Los Angeles Rams. But the really big thing is that we drafted well. Every year after the college season and in between the NFL seasons, there's a draft where the best college football players get drafted to their teams. And Joe Burrow, our quarterback, was the number 1 overall pick. And he's the first quarterback in NFL history to be the number 1 overall pick and lead his team to a Super Bowl. Not win the Super Bowl, but lead his team to the Super Bowl.
But he wasn't picked this season, right?
No, last year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But so it's basically still like from that season where they picked well? Or...
Yeah, well, actually, it's kind of ironic that we're filming this right now. He actually, just 20 minutes before we're filming this, got named the comeback player of the year. Okay. So after 4 games into his first season, his rookie season last year, he got tackled and tore up his knee really bad.
Surgery.
And he had surgery. And he was out for the whole season. And everybody thought, like, he's not going to be as mobile. He's not going to be able to do this, do that. And lo and behold, fast forward to the end of the year, we're one of the last 2 standing, and we're playing for all the marbles, the Super Bowl. So.
All right, so basically it's just a good team then? Is that what it is?
Yeah. I think they just realize that it's time. It's their time, and they're going to try to grasp it.
But the coach stayed the same, right?
Yeah, his name's Zach Taylor. Yeah. And it's kind of funny because just last year, people were calling for his job. And
I remember that. I mean, like, I don't really talk about sports a lot, but you still hear people, like, bitching about it all the time, like every weekend. And I do remember that people were like, yeah, we need a different coach. I mean, that's usually when the team doesn't play well in any sports. Like, that's what people will say. But
I think there's a live and die aspect with sports that people put into. They put so much weight into the coach. They put so much weight into, especially American sports, because it's such a brand. It's such like people put so much weight into it, especially with the NFL. The NFL makes so much money because of the amount of attention that it draws. And people, for whatever the reason is, they just pay attention. So, the city is a buzz right now. Both sides of the river, because Cincinnati spills into Kentucky, and you can't go half a mile without seeing like a little pop-up shop on the corner where they have Bengals merchandise, and it's crazy because Bengals stuff just sits on racks for months and months and
like
months
the merch,
usually.
Yeah, there was this one brewery, like local brewery, Hudepohl, that put out their own like Bengals branded beer, like a 6-pack, and I think they gave it away for free, right? I saw people line up in the streets and like try to get that Bengals beer. It's
very collectible. It's a local beer called Hudepohl, and the Bengals motto is Houday.
Yeah.
And that's where they now spell it WHODEY, Houday.
Yeah.
But whenever it first came around, it was HUDEY. Houday, and it was named after that beer.
Oh, was that like the team sponsor back then?
I don't know the specific on that, but I know that was the origin.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a really cool little
it's not just that. It's also like the day that they won the last game, like all the buildings had like orange lights lit up on their like skyscrapers, and all the local businesses changed their profile pictures on social media to something in like Bengals pattern and stuff like that. I saw something today that like, I didn't read the full article, but the writer of the song Eye of the Tiger apparently changed it to like a Bengals themed lyrics.
Oh, I know what I'm doing as soon as we're done filming this.
That's crazy. And the whole country and also internationally, people are talking about the city of Cincinnati. And I actually talked about this with Josh. I also did a podcast episode on Understanding Train Station about this very topic, about the Super Bowl and the football culture and stuff like that. So if you want to hear Josh and I talk about that topic a little bit more in depth, you can go over to Understanding Train Station and check it out. But we talked about how it's crazy that for him, he lives in Munich right now. He's an American from Cincinnati living in Munich. Whenever he currently meets new people and says that he's from Cincinnati, suddenly everyone's like, oh yeah, Cincinnati, the Bengals, the Super Bowl. Everyone knows what Cincinnati is suddenly. And usually when I tell people I live in Cincinnati, they're like, what even is there? Isn't that just like a shithole? Like, why would you live there? Like, nobody can really picture anything. And suddenly people talk about the city in a positive way, which is super cool. Germans suddenly know about Cincinnati, like more than just having it hurt sometime. And the whole country in the US is also talking about this. And one big topic is Cincinnati-style chili. I know the Washington Post did an article about Cincinnati-style chili.
There was another article that came out today that CJ Uzama, the Bengals tight end, he said that if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, he will bathe in Skyline Cincinnati style chili.
And we need to explain this real quick. I have talked about Cincinnati style chili before, but it's a signature dish in this area. It initially was brought over, I think, or like invented by Greek immigrants. It's not classic like Texas style chili. It's basically just like a sauce with ground beef. So like it doesn't have any beans or anything in it. So it's kind of like, I usually try to describe it as a bolognese, like a bolognese sauce, like an Italian sauce, but with like different herbs in it. So it has like spices, like cinnamon and some other spices.
Some of it has chocolate. It's just a whole concoction of spices, but it is definitely an acquired taste. I will say that if you're not from here and you haven't grown up on it.
Yeah. Like me, like I really don't like it. And a lot of people who have moved here in their lives, they don't like it. To me, it kind of sounds like bad, like canned food. But to Cincinnati people, it's like sacred. And ever since the Bengals made it into the Super Bowl, there has been an internet trend going around also where a bunch of like young people mostly shotgun Skyline out of the can. So to explain, Skyline is a local like chain restaurant. It's not just local now, but like it's from Cincinnati, and Skyline is like the restaurant that's best known for Cincinnati style chili. There's a few other chains and some local places as well.
Gold Star too.
Yeah. But there's also like local places that have sold it way before Skyline even existed and stuff like that. But that's besides the point. Skyline can also be bought in the stores in a can. And so people have been shotgunning it, which you usually do with beer cans. To those of you who don't know what that means, you like put a hole in the can and then you open the side of it, and then it's like a vacuum kind of situation, and you like hold it like this and you just chug it. Basically, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, so, I couldn't imagine that with
Skyline.
Chunks of meat.
Basically, or what I'm trying to explain is Cincinnati has been going crazy these last 2 weeks. So we don't know yet how the Super Bowl is going to end up, like what the results are going to be. But I really, really, really hope for you and for all my friends that have been Bengals fans their whole lives that they're going to win. Because I know that if they're going to win, it's going to be insane.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I hope they win. Like, I really hope God they win.
Like literally the city would feel like Christmas and birthday and everything all together.
But here's the good side. The flip side of that is that even if they do lose, all these guys are so young and so like early into their contracts that it almost feels like the city, this prolonged hype of surrounding the Bengals is just going to extend over the next 3-4 years because we have this solid group of young guys around, and it's something that the city can hop onto, and hopefully we can get a Lombardi trophy in a Super Bowl at some point, hopefully this week, but in the next 5 years, I would be very happy with that.
So what are your predictions for the game?
I don't think it's going to be super high scoring, and I don't think it's going to be super low scoring. I think the Rams are a very good team. I think they'll put up points because I think they have a lot of offensive weapons, and their defensive line is very, very good, and the Bengals have a bad offensive line. I'll say 24-17 Bengals.
Okay, I was like...
Bengals. Of course Bengals. You think I would say the Rams?
I mean, I'm asking, like, not hope, but prediction. So, like, you know, what do you think is realistic?
I feel slighted right now.
I wasn't sure. I haven't asked him this off camera because, I mean, I don't even usually know what that stuff means. Another thing that happened this past week was the Pep Rally, which, like, I literally didn't even know what that was until I saw it on social media. But I did see that people said that not a lot of people showed up to the Rams Pep Rally, but the Bengals one was packed.
Yeah, well, it's partially because the Bengals fan base is just so like riled up right now. Yeah, they sold out the entire lower part of Paul Brown Stadium. Yeah. Which I don't know how many people that is, but it's a lot.
Yeah. A lot of my friends went to it. I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, they sold it out. Yeah. And it was really cool. But yeah, the Rams apparently had one. It's been reported that it was pretty small, like 1,000 people showed up. Yeah. And but that's kind of I don't want to. There's things to do. There's more distractions in LA than there is in Cincinnati, admittedly. And also, the Los Angeles Rams just moved from St. Louis not too long ago.
So the fan base isn't as loyal
they're still building up a fan base. Yeah. So I'm not gonna roast them for that.
Yeah, I just wanted to like bring it up because it was a cool thing that also happened. Also, on the topic of the city is going crazy over this, the Cincinnati public schools actually already announced, like I think the day after the last game, that they're gonna cancel class for everyone the Monday after the Super Bowl, so the day after the Super Bowl, which I think is also a crazy like thing to do and shows how big this is for the city.
I think an overwhelming majority of the schools in the greater Cincinnati area have done that.
Yeah.
All the way from Indiana to Kentucky, all the way through the tri-state, and Ohio too.
It's crazy.
So it's Bengal fever is alive and well.
So I think everyone knows that American football is a pretty big sport in the U.S. So is basketball and baseball, of course. But to you, like growing up here, what role did football play for you in your life?
I mean, it was a big one. The older I've gotten, the more it was a role in my life.
Yeah.
I never played football. Mm-hmm. I played basketball and baseball, so I don't have that connection to it. But the older I've gotten, the more I really, really enjoy the culture around football. Yeah. Just watching it on Sunday, it's just a full like afternoon with my dad and
But
my
did
family.
you not watch it growing up?
I did, but I just wasn't that into it. I'd watch baseball.
Okay, but like, would your family like every Sunday like have the football games on?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's what I feel like most American families do. And like what baffles me always, I said this in the podcast episode too, is how a lot of families watch it on Thanksgiving and like holidays and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, my family's one of those families. Yeah, the Detroit Lions play every Thanksgiving, and that's a thing. It's
crazy. Like that, to me, that's such a non-festive event, like having the TV on, like it's on just, a family holiday.
I can picture it right now. We just got done eating. Everybody migrates to the couch. We turn on the football game, and 10 minutes in, my uncle, my grandfather, my dad, they're all just passed out. And that's like...
Passed out?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're so full.
So full. Just a food coma. And then it's just part of it. And it wouldn't be the same if the football wasn't on. And
but the football culture that you were talking about earlier, usually like on Sundays, it includes beer usually, right?
Oh, yeah.
People drink, like snacks.
Yeah,
sometimes.
tailgating and stuff like that. Here, I mean, hot dogs are a big tailgating thing in the U.S. And here in Cincinnati, it's a cheese coney, which is a hot dog with Cincinnati style chili and a mountain of cheese on top, and it's delicious. Yeah. But beer, chips. Cornhole, if you guys, I don't know.
Yeah, I know that that's a big thing in a lot of parts of the U.S., but I've never understood in which parts it is a thing. I know it's a big Midwest thing. It's this game. I can put a photo in the video.
I will say this is a side of the football culture I've never seen before because, like, I enjoy watching football in general, but half the time I watch the Bengals, it was like, sad. Oh, here comes disappointment again. But with this, it's like...
It's so much better.
Yeah, I can take pride in it. It's a whole new angle of what football means to me because it's so personal and it's home and it's the nasty natty. It's Cincinnati.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a nickname for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Sorry. But there is definitely the personal element to it with every football fan out there, and I think the NFL has done a pretty good job of making football a very big thing.
Like social event. Yeah, for sure. I mean, even I have been to several football games, and I don't even understand the sport. And I think that might be a question that a lot of you guys are going to ask as well, is like, am I going to watch the Super Bowl? Do I understand football? Has Ben gotten me into it yet? And the answer is no, he has not. If you haven't seen that, 2 years ago, I made a video about the sports cultures in the US versus Germany, and I mentioned it in that video. I'm going to link that somewhere as well. That I'm just not a big sports person, never have been. I'm just not very competitive. And even when in physical education I had to play a team sport, just was forced to, I never even cared if my team won. So, and I'm not someone who follows soccer either, because like if anything, as a German, I would probably follow soccer like the rest of my family does. But even that I only watch when the World Cup is on. But so I am going to watch the Super Bowl, long story short, because even though I don't really understand football and people have explained it to me numerous times, like, and I kind of know the rules, like I keep forgetting them and I'm usually like, wait, how is this again? How does this work again? But the thing is, like, even if I understand the rules theoretically, I don't see what's happening on the field. Like whether I watched games in real life in person, like at Nippert Stadium at the University of Cincinnati, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see the ball. I just saw a bunch of people tackle each other and like a bunch of people on a big pile. And I would just cheer when everyone else cheered. And when I watched it on TV, like I also have trouble seeing the ball and kind of seeing what happens. Because to me, I always feel like it's just mainly pauses. And then once they play again, it's just 5 seconds of something happening super quickly. There's 1,000 people on the field. I don't even see the ball. So to me, it's just really hard to follow. And especially probably because I'm used to soccer where it's just a continuous flow. Constant, there's much more space on the field. Like everyone's much more spread out. It's not such a like dense thing.
I have a happy medium for you. They just announced it. So the NFL has been playing a game in London for the last 5 years, and they just announced that they'll be having one in Munich.
I know.
Next year.
I know.
So
we're going to have to be there for that,
I know whenever we're planning our next visit to Munich. Not our next visit.
And you're saying they're playing at Allianz.
At Allianz, where Bayern plays.
Yeah.
So...
so that's your answer about me, but I am going to watch the Super Bowl, and I did watch the last games as well because I knew that it was a big thing for everyone. And I was super excited that they won, even though, you know, like even I care about this. This is how big of a deal this is. And I am going to watch the Super Bowl, and I'm going to be super hyped for it and excited. But also like, funny thing, you also actually follow soccer. So to all the Germans watching that were about to roast you for being a football fan, he's also a big soccer fan, which is awesome because he gets along with my family and my German friends very well.
Yes, I just visited Allianz Arena for the first time last month, and it was amazing. It was really cool. I want to see a game there.
What team are you a fan of again?
Real Madrid.
Yeah, okay.
So, being an American, I don't have any allegiance, and I can pick the best ones.
But I think with that, we're just gonna cross our fingers, press our thumbs like we do in Germany tomorrow for the Bengals, and I hope all of you are gonna be doing the same. Say the Bengals.
Who day?
Yeah, what's the whole thing?
Oh, who day? Who they think I'll beat them Bengals.
There we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up. And of course, I want to know, are you going to watch the Super Bowl? If so, which country are you in? Because people in Germany also watch the Super Bowl. Again, I mentioned that in the podcast episode with Josh. A lot of people in Germany take the Monday off because they have to stay up all night because the Super Bowl game there doesn't start until after midnight. So the night from Sunday to Monday, they just stay up. A lot of people get together in their pajamas. They make like American style snacks, which aren't always that American, like not always that authentic. They just go into the store and buy like a frozen pizza that has like an American flag on it, or like chips flavors that don't even exist in the US. But no, it's pretty cool that Germans do that. And I've actually done it in Germany before, even though, again, didn't understand football really. And they show it on free TV in Germany with German commentators. So yeah, if you're in Germany or somewhere else in the world or in the US, let us know how you are gonna watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. Of course, who you're rooting for. And if you have anything to add to this topic, something that we didn't mention, just let us know in the comments below. And I would also love to maybe get some photos from you guys via Instagram DM. My Instagram is Feli from Germany. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support my channel, check out my Patreon, buy me a coffee, or hit the super thanks button. And we will see you next time when we already know who won the Super Bowl.
Yes. Hopefully not heartbroken.
Yeah. All right. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Who day?